Just doing all the setup here again. Sorry. Here we are. Okay. Where were we? We were this one, I think. All right. So here we are once again in the room in what should hopefully be the final stream of this particular playthrough. And what we're going to do is try and escape from the room. So the very last thing that happened, if you've been watching either the streams when they're live or the VODs I'm uploading to YouTube, is we busted down this wall and we found out that in the back room there is Walter Sullivan, or more accurately, what was once Walter Sullivan, but now just his body. He's crucified himself in the back room. So we're going to need to investigate this strange happening. So there's something in his coat, and we're going to get the keys. And these are the keys to our front apartment that will unlock, and we will finally escape from the room, the titular room. And you can see that, yeah, there's this strange, like, glass, almost like a viewing portal in a submarine, but you can't see. It's just a reflection, but it might become spooky later. What am I saying? It will become spooky later. It's the Silent Hill we're talking about. And we have a haunting. Do I have any... Do I have any of these left is the question. I need a candle, which is good that I still have one. Just one? Yeah. So in order to get a good ending, we just want to get rid of all of these hauntings. So just by placing it there, I'll just wait for it to expire, because I'm never sure whether if you walk away, it actually properly expires. But we've got a few items here that can come in handy. We're going to use the keys of liberation, and we're going to finally escape room 302. We're going to see what's on the other side. The promise of freedom is so close. But of course, it's never that easy when it comes to Silent Hill. And you can see that what we thought was the real world is not the real world. Or if it is, something very, very bad has happened to it. There's Eileen again.
Eileen?
If I remember correctly, yeah, Eileen's badly wounded. So you're just gonna have to try and protect her a little bit more. But I think I'm on track to get a bad ending here, which is unfortunate. But maybe it'll be one of the endings that I haven't seen yet. So we're back in apartment world, which we were in earlier in the game, and this really is boss time. Because there's a lot of our favorite friends here, the twin victims, and an enemy that acts basically identical to them.
This is our apartment building, but
Now it looks like some kind of nightmare.
And you can hear, yes, all of these noises, which are fairly suggestive, but I think they're meant to represent Walter's mother giving birth to him, I think, and this sort of, once again, turning a building into a biological entity. And these are the new twin victim type enemies. They operate exactly the same way, they just have more health. But, you know, you can see it's going very well for me. Just have to get back into the swing of playing it. Can't wait for the boss fight, which I traditionally struggle with. Nice camera angle. Okay, here we are. We just might as well check everywhere for stuff. Yep. Because I'm gonna need some of these, I imagine. Because this area is full of enemies. This is indeed the last area of the game before the final boss. And yeah, you'll see that the whole building literally has become this biological entity. And there's Walter, and he's going to shoot at us if we don't move quick enough. Which we did that time, but there's another, he's going to start chasing us in a second. Here's the painting room again, which is what added so much brilliant character and background. Okay, we just got to be careful in here, because Walter does come out of nowhere, and so do some ghosts. There's Cynthia again. Okay, we'll knock her down. Yep, I got Eileen with me. Always have to check that. Always have to check that because she's not very good at moving sometimes. Oh, yep. And there's Walter there. So if we walk in front of him, he's going to shoot us. So I'm just going to double check that we can't go this way. No, we can. But it's filled with nurse enemies. Or patient enemies, I think they're called in this one. And there's just this wonderful... these wonderful sound effects, which really, you know, terrify. There's 4 of them. It's just what you want to see. Fortunately, this axe really is a good weapon. Oh, 5 of them. You can tell that this area really is meant to be a challenge. Sadly, it's not. I'm not entirely convinced that volume of enemies is what you need to make a good challenge, but I guess they didn't have much else to fall back on. Okay. And you can just hear the really tortured sounds. They basically turned the horror noises up to about 1,000 here. Just gonna keep exploring. This place is pretty messed up now. Well, it was messed up before, but it's even worse now. And once again, we're just going to grab this nutrition drink. And what do we have? Nothing here? Nope. Just a deceptive camera angle. Classic survival horror. Yep, nothing else in here but the health drink. But again, that health drink probably going to save my life in the final boss fight, because it is something I've struggled with before. Hopefully you don't have to see me struggle with it now, but who knows. And you'll see, yeah, this very traditional Silent Hill monstrosity, just this horrible fleshy thing, this organ jammed into this tiny impossible little space. Just pumping away for no reason. Okay, and get Eileen in here. And Walter's in here, I think. Yep, you can hear him cocking his guns. Okay, there's a candle. Oh dear. He's quick. He's quick. This might go poorly. We'll use those. We need to get in here. I need Eileen to hurry the hell up. Come on, Eileen. Had to waste both of those things, which is a shame, but it's better that than die. There's going to be a gum head. Is it a gum head? I can't remember what they're called, but... And here's one of my favorite tracks from the game, which plays at this really incongruous moment when you're in this horrible place, but... I think I've seen a few sort of comments about this particular track, which is called Resting Comfortably. And it's sort of, it sounds to me, and it sounds to other people like it's meant to be this sort of soothing sound, like, you know, you'd hear it, you know, that you imagine you might hear in the womb or something. And once again, just another callback. Just another callback to Walter and his particular obsession. So now what we have to do, you'll see that the superintendent's room, which is where we need to go, because we need to retrieve that horrible little umbilical cord, which is one hell of a Chekhov's gun. But to unlock these 6 chains, we need to find 6 copies of Walter. And to find 6 copies of Walter, we just have to look around and inspect all of these downstairs rooms. But we'll let this cutscene play. Walter's father, so this is what he's talking about. Oh, another cutscene here. I thought there was. Might be mistaking it for some other area. So, yep, that's what we need to find there. So, sort of a symbol of Walter's imprisonment.
Oh, shut the hell up. You can't blame it all on me.
So what's really clever about this game is that instead of deconstructing the protagonist, we deconstruct the antagonist. And in doing so, Walter, in fact, actually really does become the main character of the story. This is entirely Walter's story, and both ourselves and Henry were really just observers. Oh no, that's not fair. Wind up. Got him. That didn't work quite as well as I'd hoped. Just happened to get both of them. You can see that, yeah, there's a person on the underside of that. Oh. Where's Eileen? Where is Eileen? I left her in there for some reason. So you can see that, yeah, this area is quite hard. Oh yeah, here's the cutscene. That's what I was remembering.
It's terrible. That poor little boy.
So yeah, another disturbing. I think that's a Silent Hill 3 enemy almost.
His parents just threw him away right after he was born. Poor thing. He really thinks that room 302 is his mother. I've gotta help him.
Okay, so with that, Eileen is becoming more maternal, just like her role in the 21 Sacraments, because she was the only person who was ever nice to Walter, and now she is going to basically act as the sole. Don't go in there, Eileen, please. And she went in there. So yeah, Eileen is acting in this very symbolic role, and she's gonna be the 20th sacrifice. And her spirit is going to be the one that enters into the room and basically becomes Walter's new mother. Which, you know, is pretty damn creepy, really. There's another Walter.
I told you we shouldn't have a baby, didn't I?
And they seem to be the only subconscious memories that Walter has of his father, we can assume. Who obviously was not a particularly nice guy. Okay, so that's 2 out of 6. And there's another one in here, I just haven't been able to get to it yet because there's still those monsters. It's almost, you know, it's comic book levels of villainy, really. Just sort of moustache twirling, you know. Let's abandon our literally newborn baby in this apartment without informing anybody and leave him forever. So it's kind of, with that kind of parenting, it's no wonder Walter turned out the way he did. And if we remember, this is Walter's version of paradise. All of these monsters, all of this gore everywhere. And he's killed people to get there in pretty horrible ways. All because he was so ruthlessly abandoned. At least that's the psychiatric excuse. So we got another... I really like these enemies because, yeah, they might actually be called bottoms, I think. Yeah, Gumheads are the monkey ones. But you'll see that, yeah, they're in complete reverse. So they have, yeah, their heads are at the bottom. It's kind of hard to see, but you might be able to catch a little glimpse as I'm beating them up. But their heads are at the bottom, which creates this, yeah, another just disturbing visual.
Little crybaby.
So I'm not really sure what exactly that parent thought he was getting himself into. Didn't know that babies cry. Okay, we'll check this room as well. Yeah, so that sound is an indicator that there's another one in here.
Yep. Get that.
So yep, they're leaving. Okay, more bullets. I can't remember, I don't think bullets, they're moderately useful, I suppose, but it's because you can't stack them, and you need to take a few other things into the boss fight. So I'll only be able to take a few things, really. But at least I've got a candle and a few healing items still. What's that, 4 out of 6? So if we run back the other way, in those other rooms, in the other corridor with the superintendent's room, they should have the last 2 straitjacketed Walter spirits. And that's little Walter, obviously. And you can sort of guess that little Walter was a slightly unintended side effect of the candle. I have to... What else is in here? Ah, damn. Damn, okay, I might have to run back down here. I don't think there's a save point down here this time. You have to run all the way back up to the room. But those are 2 very good healing items that I might need. Okay, I left Eileen behind again. Maybe I'm mistaken about where these last 2 are. No, there's just healing items in these rooms. Oh, I've forgotten. That's a good look. Where's Eileen again? Where is Eileen? Eileen is still in room 106. Oh, I didn't check the middle room on the other side. Get Eileen back out with us because we can't leave her alone for too long anymore because she's going crazy. Yep, 2 more. Yeah, so there used to be a hole in that wall, but not anymore because we've actually entered into the outside of room 302. So we technically don't need a door. We can run all the way back upstairs past all the monsters. I'm hoping there's not too many monsters in here because I really don't want to waste any more items than necessary. Oh, there's a ghost. I'll just grab this.
That super hears him, we're in trouble. There's something about that guy. I just don't like the look of him.
Eileen, come on. Okay, so I'm missing 1, and I've probably missed it in some terribly obvious space. I've already had a look in here, haven't I? This was just nothing else in this little bit? No. Might be where you can find a secret item on the second playthrough. Okay. Continuing to look. I'll just do a check of... well, not this room. Oh, maybe I should. The ghost is fine, he's just having a lie down. No, nothing else is there. Sleeping? Okay. I do like how all the enemies remain where they lie in the Silent Hill games. Nice that they don't fade out of existence or something. Gives the place sort of more of a sense of permanence. What's in this? No, nothing in this back room either. Let's keep rolling. And again, dodgy camera angles. Because while they are supposed to give you this feeling of disembodiment, sometimes it doesn't really do that. Sometimes you just get frustrated because this bit here, that's a fine camera angle because you can actually see what's going on, but the moment you sort of go through the grill, I'm very glad there aren't any enemies in this section. But it is a great way of sort of making you feel like the building itself. Again, feeding back into the Silent Hills love of making buildings living things. Making you feel like the building is watching you and you specifically, and that you're basically playing the game from the perspective of the town. See if I can't go outside. And this stairway is still blocked. Okay. Wait for Eileen. I really am curious what ending I'm gonna get here. Oh no, we can enter. That's odd. Did I miscount? I must have miscounted. That's okay. So I can't hold anymore. Not exactly sure. I guess I'll just drink this health drink. Yeah, it's a shame, but I guess that's what I have to do. And we'll let this cutscene play.
Henry? Are you okay? It's Walter. He's crying. Even finishing the 21 sacraments won't help that boy. I'm going back, Henry. To the room where he is. We're the only ones. The only ones that can stop him.
So we have this weapon, quote unquote, the umbilical cord, that basically acts as Walter's real physical connection to his mother. And we're going to have to use that. And heaven knows why the superintendent actually did keep it, but he is a Sunderland. And if you've played Silent Hill 2, you know that Sunderlands, they're kind of a strange breed. So there's a couple of healing items on this bottom floor, which I guess is worth noting. So if I do really, really struggle with this boss fight, it's up and coming, then I will run, I'll save it, and then I'll run all the way back down here, grab those items. But for now, yeah, so you can see this is the final boss cutscene lead up. I love these little atmospheric clips, even though they're very sort of low res, very sort of found footage. Really haunting, actually, especially that visual of Eileen just walking in the red. There she goes up the stairs. And yep, some new twin victims and new bottoms have spawned, I think. This woman, is this Eileen? Surprised you got that out of it, to be honest. Okay. So I'm going to remember that the healing items are on the bottom floor, but I really don't have space for them. Okay. So yeah, you can see that the hallway has now filled up with enemies again, and there are also the six bodies of Walter have appeared on that wall there. Yep, more wall men. Is Walter in here again? I hope not. Always forget. Okay, here they are. That was a good run, if I do say so myself. Okay. We're gonna go, yeah, back to room 201 and back up the stairs, which is back to our room. And you really do get it is a very climactic level. They've done a very good job, especially just the toning of the bell and all those sorts of just droning sound effects. Yeah, Akira Yamaoka, I mean, just genius. The Silent Hill games would not be as good if he had not worked on them. No enemies respawn here? No, maybe it was just those other enemies. Oh no. There's little Walter. Out of the way, kid. Okay, back in the room. Alright. Slightly more peaceful. There's one haunting left, which is just once again the ghost. It's a shame I didn't get any of the scarier ones. The ghost one's pretty decent, but that was my amulet breaking. I'll just let this go. Bye. Nice to see you again for like the 5th time this playthrough. Alright. So, this is, yeah, we're right at the end game now. And I'm just gonna, so I've saved it there. I realize I'm gonna have to save it again. I'm gonna have to play around, because this is not, yeah, it's not as easy a boss fight as I would have liked. Especially when I first played it. I just got 2 revolver bullets left. So actually it's not worth me taking the revolver. I'll stock myself with those, pop the candle in, pop that in. I know I need another one space free. But it's what else I can bring. The ampule, I suppose. Ampule and Guess I could bring a drink with me. I think that's about all I can afford to take. So we'll save it here. And I mean, maybe we'll see how good I am. Maybe we'll see how bad I am. Yeah, this boss fight really tripped me up the first time I played it. But we'll see. I might do better this time. So we're gonna go back in here, and look at that. That's perfect. He's gone. It's just such an effective sort of horror. Like he's been right next door to you this whole time, and now he's gone. This dead body is gone. So what else we got in this room? Bowl made from obsidian. So yeah, this is where he performed his sort of final rites, basically. His the 11th sacrament of the 21. So yeah, and the depression. Wait a minute, this is no normal depression. When I stare into it, I feel like it could be sucked in. It's like it's connected to some other dimension. Or maybe it's like a hole that once you enter, you can never leave. Will you go in? Yes, why not? What could possibly go wrong? Here we've entered into the womb level, basically. Very, very cool visuals. Colors all well chosen. And it feels very, very final. You know that this is the final bit of the game. No doubt about that in your mind. And I find this room particularly strange. It's got all of these sort of all these bodies on the wall, but to me it feels like it's meant to be a womb level, obviously, with all of the other symbolism that the game is using for Walter. I've always found these to sort of elude me in terms of the meaning, and maybe they're not supposed to have meaning. Maybe they're just meant to be creepy. But I give Silent Hill a little bit more credit than that. So I've always been wondering what these bodies are for and why they're here. But we're gonna do our classic Silent Hill into the hole once more for the final time. If you think about it, that's the last Team Silent hole that ever existed. You jump down, and yeah, this is the end of classic Silent Hill. This is it. Such a good set piece. This horribly serene Walter.
Hey there, little Walter. Just a little longer now.
Henry, you're it. The last of the 21 sacraments. The final sign. The receiver of wisdom.
Okay. Oh, yep. So what we need to do is we need to run to the giant, abominable fetus Walter up here, and we're going to just give him the umbilical cord. And it's going to weaken him, make him vulnerable, and release these spears here, just as the book said last stream. So we're just gonna grab this. So this is, Spear of the Holy Mother. The Crimson Tome says I have to stick 8 of these spears into Walter's body. And you'd think that maybe it's that other Walter, but no, it's that Walter. And that causes other Walter to fall to the ground. So we just have to be quick. We just have to be quick. And you can see the camera cuts. Camera cuts to Eileen, because that's every time she takes a step. And she moves. The faster she moves, the more damage she's taken over the course of the game. She doesn't seem to be moving too fast, but I'm not very good at this fight, as I've said many times before, so we will see. Slightly repetitive boss fight too. Grab this. And that in there. Walter has quite a bit of health, so... Oops. Oh! That's not good. Come on, Henry. There we go. What's that, 2 more? Yep. I guess the figures could be representations of his father or something. Or of Walter himself again. So I think that big Walter is meant to be called the Conjurer, I think. And I think that's just meant to be an allusion to how Walter is going to conjure his mother through the room. Yeah, I might not be able to save Eileen. I think she might have taken too much damage. So the strategy here, stay just out of his reach. So back up. And use the axe to give me iframes if I need them, but yeah, Walter's not playing very nicely with me here. So yeah, that's just what we want to keep doing. And he's got a big clumsy swing of his own. Fortunately, the big monster doesn't do anything but look creepy. So we just keep doing this. It's not a very exciting fight, but it's kind of strange to consider that, yeah, this really is, with this fight, thus ended Team Silent, really. They disbanded after this completely as an entity. And the series got handed over to the Western developers, and while they didn't all do a terrible job, nothing quite lived up to the power of these titles. Because it's the disturbing imagery and the weirdness, quite similar to Ito's works, Junji Ito, the manga artist. He relies a lot on just dream logic and weirdness. I might have done it. That's a pretty good boss fight, actually. I'm happy with that one. Normally I take a bit more damage than that when I'm playing through. I think I might have saved Eileen too. That's not a bad effort. Without that strategy, I definitely would have failed. But I'll shut up and let this final bit play. did. Yeah, end up destroying both Walters. Unfortunately, sadly, you sort of want to see the kid at least get some. Have a happy ending, but. Alas, adult Walter did too many evil things. And here he emerges, finally into the outside world. For the first time in about, well, more than a week, I think, realistically. But of course, you can never be sure. This is Silent Hill after all.
Eileen.
Thanks. Aww. Guess we'll have to find a new place to live, huh?
And not only is that little comment Eileen made a good way to end the game, it's also, guess we'll have to find a new horror franchise, huh? And I never did. It's really excellent. Excellent game. Still very much worth playing today. Simply because I think it does a lot. Sorry, I'll have to skip the credits. Simply because it does a lot of really interesting things. It plays around with time and particularly space in a really novel way that wasn't done in horror games so much up until the sort of the big, fairly big indie boom of, after PT happened. That was where it sort of blew up, and at least in my eyes, that you're playing around with this condensed space, which is perfect for indie games, and you're doing lots of funky things with that space. But Silent Hill 4 still stands above a huge number of other games, not just because it was made by a bigger team, but because it was just built out of something really special, I think. And it had all of these really clever ideas. But what's worth playing about Silent Hill, especially if you want to make your own horror game or horror title of your own, is that the game Silent Hill 4 makes mistakes, and you can see clearly the mistakes. Ghosts are too annoying. The inventory is frustrating. There are often too many enemies. All these kinds of things, you can pluck them out, and it's a really good game design exercise to play through a game like this that's held up to be, a classic or near to a classic, and to have that experience of picking it apart for yourself and finding out what works and what doesn't. And that's partially what I love about playing horror games, because I can deconstruct what I find scary, and I can deconstruct what works about the gameplay, what made it scary, all that kind of thing. And yeah, I just think it's a brilliant game. It's one of my favorites, and I would happily play it through again on my channel many times over. I'd like to try my hand at speedrunning. 5 hours. 5 hours is a bit slow, isn't it? I really would like to get stuck into speedrunning this game, even with some of the RNG. I think it would be a cool game to learn. So what are my stats here? Otherwise, 34 saves, 2 deaths. I think 2 deaths is the same amount of deaths I had on my first playthrough, so that's not too bad. 226 enemies, 44, and I got the best ending. So the way the endings are broken down is basically either you save Eileen or you don't, and either you eliminate all the hauntings or you don't. And if you do both, like I did in that one, you get the escape ending where Eileen lives and the apartment is cleansed, so there's no more Walter spirit. You can get Eileen dies and you cleanse the apartment of Walter's spirit. You can get Eileen lives, but Walter's spirit still lives on in the apartment, so it's still haunted. And the last one is obviously Eileen dies and the hauntings continue. Basically, Walter wins and he goes to live in the apartment, but he looks kind of sad about it, mainly because his other world is going to consume, like spread across town and consume everything. And he sort of seems to be like, oh well, was this really worth it? You know, it's not really my mother, and everyone outside is going to die. Not that he necessarily cares about that, but he sort of feels that his own objectives were not met. And one last point, isn't this just this lovely, incredibly jarring sort of end to the game in terms of this creepy picture on this sort of grainy static? I remember when my old TV used to do that. And just this sort of discordant like elevator music playing. I think it's just a perfect way to end not only the game, but again the franchise. It's just this sort of unassuming, weird way to finish. And what is Silent Hill horror if not at first unassuming and weird? And there we go. So I will save on top of this one. So this basically gives us a new game plus save. So now I have 2 on this particular computer, which is good. And that's it for Silent Hill 4. I guess I'll get to work installing Silent Hill 3 and also setting up Pathologic Classic HD for a playthrough. I think that'd be a lot of fun to deconstruct and analyze, and I'm hoping to see people engaging in chat and whatnot. Would be great. But to those of you who've watched just this one or all the other ones, thanks for stopping by and listening to what I have to say on one of my favorite games of all time.